Welcome to the Crystal Coach Show with me, your host, Anahata, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. Are you feeling overwhelmed, anxious, maybe disconnected? Do you ever feel like you don't know how to live a life of peace and joy? I am Anahata Roach, the Crystal Coach, and during this show, we channel divine wisdom through stories of service, spirituality, and stones for self-care. The Crystal Coach Show leaves you with a feeling of connection and the clarity it takes towards becoming the best version of yourself as you hear from thought leaders and many others to help you ignite the crystalline nature of who you really are. Stay tuned. The Crystal Coach Show starts now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crystal Coach Show. I'm your host, Anahata Roach, and I am delighted that you are here on this journey with me today. This is being recorded and it's also being shown live right around the December holiday season. And it is the start of, in Christian religion, it's the start of Advent season. But did you know that according to the Interfaith Calendar Organization, there's like 14 different religious holidays that are observed in December? I'm not talking about cultural holidays. I'm talking about religious holidays. Now, the majority of those are Christian because of Christmas at the end of the month, but there's also Buddhist, there is Jewish, the Hanukkah comes up in December. The Buddhist tradition of Bodhi Day is when, it's a celebration of the Buddhist commitment to enlightenment by sitting under the Bodhi tree. It's also the pagan and or Wiccan celebration of Yule. And yeah, so there's more to it than you'd think, but regardless of where you land religious wise, it has a lot of stress attached to it. This is a very busy time to kind of pack in all of these kind of different religious kind of observations and, whatever's going on in your life, it's this is mounds on top of that. And, it's challenging for many of us, for most of us, because some things happen when you have these family traditions. What did you grow up doing as a child to observe the holidays? And we create these emotional patterns that, and actually over the years we've been collecting more. Sometimes it's just the weight of the season just comes crashing down on us, and we're just triggered by these unmet or unrealistic expectations. Today we're going to be exploring the opportunities that these triggers provide and reveal a little bit more about emotional programs that we carry in our bodies and our energy fields. The holidays really are a perfect opportunity to identify and unlock those triggers of limiting beliefs. So we're going to explore all that. We're going to explore how we can anticipate and dread at the same time, and how we really kind of create stress for ourselves with an expectation of perfection and other kinds of things. I've got some stones that I'm kind of putting together, as I call it, my holiday coping kit, or just the holiday survival kit. And also I have, just for today, the end of the year, I get a lot of clients to come back every year for an annual reading, an annual snapshot. This is when I use intuitive guidance and oracle cards to give an overview of the next 4 quarters and the year overall. And so I just thought about, why don't I do kind of pull a couple of cards from my Crystal Ally deck, and that's the card deck that I'm most familiar with, use most often, and see what gift and lesson we have for everyone that's listening to this podcast today and in the future. So I went ahead and pulled two cards, and I'm just going to share those with you really quickly. Our gift card is the archetype of Earth. Now, Earth is everything in 3D. It's our home, it's our family of origin, it's our core beliefs, it's our traditions, it's our material goods, it's our physical body and health, and our physical relationships, just everything in 3D. So having the gift of the earth element in this time of the season, so I ask for guidance for this holiday season for the collective and for the people that are watching this show today and or listening. And that the first thing that I pulled was the earth. And this is very good in terms of being sure that you have the resources that you need to ground yourself, to protect your energy, to feel connected to your body so that your mind doesn't take off in 1,000 different directions, to have the courage to face your fears and do it anyway. So there's a lot of good stuff here in the earth archetype as our gift. So just know that you've got the earth has your back as we walk into this holiday season, and rely on that to keep grounded. Keep grounded, stay in your heart, stay in your body. The more we stay in our physical bodies and stay present instead of projecting into the future or reflecting into the past, we've got a gift of the present, right? Staying here in the moment so that you can remain neutral or in a place where you can receive and give without any expectations. So that's a good gift. Now, the learning opportunity that was pulled when I asked was an upside down card of lepidolite. Lepidolite is a water element. Water is all of your emotions. Now, when you have an upside down card in my deck, it's merely like a boldface or an underline in the overall message. So it's very important. This learning opportunity for you all today is very important to learn to accept. You know, you can't, it is what it is. You really can't change things. You can't change other people. You can't change the past. You can't change situations, but you can change how you feel about them. You can change how you react to them. You can just change yourself. And by changing yourself, this is really the most important work you can do. So it's in a challenge position for you because it is hard to do, easier said than done, to accept what's going on, to accept that, your family you're not in alignment with your family anymore, or accept that, people have quirks and they are who they are, and you have quirks too. And, it is what it is. You will have a happier holiday if you can come at it with this kind of energy of acceptance, and then make sure that you got the tools, again, the grounding kind of earth related, be in your body, physical presence, energy to get that established for you. Does that make sense? Anyway, I just thought it was a really good reading for what we're getting ready to talk about today. Okay. Yeah, that was something I had up my sleeve. I haven't done that before, pulled cards, but since this is the season that I usually get a lot of bookings for annual snapshots, so what do you need to know in the next 4 quarters in the year overall? And this isn't, I never give a reading that says, pardon the pun, is carved in stone. No. Readings are snapshots of your energy. So if you like the direction that things are going, stay in that energy. if there's something that feels out of alignment or not in resonance with where you want to go, you don't have to go there. It doesn't, you can choose to alter your path, alter your direction. It's just reading the chart of your energy in the direction that it's going at the moment. That doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. But anyway, people find it very, very helpful. And because there's a gift and a lesson in each area, in each season, there's a gift and a lesson and a gift and a lesson overall, just much like what, we just went through with these two cards. So anyway, that's what I decided to do as like my gift to you today, is to have you remember that if you ground and stay present, then you'll be in a better frame of mind to accept whatever comes at you, instead of trying to push against, a brick wall or push against the wind. It's really very exhausting, and you don't get very far or get anywhere really. Okay, so that's the introduction, and we're going to be exploring more of these triggers and how to unlock them, and how to, just cope with, I've been talking about coping a lot over the last few episodes, but it's a big kind of thing right now in our collective energy field. I mean, people are just having a hard time coping on any level. So the holidays are especially trying for that aspect of coping. This first segment that I want to talk to you about is around unmet or unrealistic expectations. We all do this. We build up our anticipation for the holiday. We want it to be the best one yet, right? Perfection in everything. Place, gathering. What are you serving on the plate, in the cup? I mean, what happens? Life happens, right? Yeah. This is reality, baby. It's not the movies. Oh, did your dream of It's a Wonderful Life not quite go the way you had planned in your mind? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe Clarence the Angel never got his wings because he couldn't get Jimmy Stewart's character to feel better about his situation. Well, what are you going to do about it? What are we doing to ourselves? We are attaching an emotion to an outcome. And then you just kind of watch helplessly as it gets mowed down. It can be really an endless loop of continual disappointment, y'all. Where's the opportunity for growth? Well, it's in the uncovering of the reasons why you have a need to attach to certain expectations. Sometimes we really don't have a clue that we have expectations of behaviors from others until they aren't met. That reminds me of a story, of course. When I was growing up in my household, mother always went to the grocery store on Saturdays, and daddy was home. He didn't work on the weekends. And when she would go to the grocery store, daddy would never go to the grocery store. That was not his thing. But when she came home from the grocery store, he was in the den. He was always watching and listening for the car to come in the driveway. And he would jump up, he'd go out the door, and he would start bringing in the groceries. So she went and got them, but he would always bring them in. My first unmet expectation in my marriage was when my husband never even looked up the first time I came home from the grocery store, and I was carrying a bunch of bags, and he never offered to help and all this sort of stuff. But instead of asking for him help, I was expecting him to do exactly what my dad did. Well, how would he know? How would he even know? The disappointment was crushing. But it's so unfair to the other person. It took me a long time to understand that it really was my projection onto him that caused the conflict. Can you see how we're setting ourselves up for hurt, resentment, and disappointment by making up these ideal scenes in our minds that are never shared with others in the same way, or in the people that are in the scene with us, right? So it's like if you're the only one with the copy of the script and nobody else knows their lines, and then you're expecting them to know them. That doesn't make sense, does it? No, it doesn't. But it's a good way to show you that you can have these unmet expectations that you didn't even know you had until they weren't met. So the key to unlocking that, when you first get this trigger of, oh my God, I expected that this person was going to do that because of something else that happened in my past, or I just expected that this was how it was supposed to be. The key to unlocking that first thing is recognition. When you recognize that you're doing this to yourself, you have control over the outcome. You can let go of that expectation because that's a projection onto your reality now. That was an expectation that was set up in your past. Has no basis on reality, unless, of course, you communicate that expectation up front. Hey, listen, part of the way I want to feel loved is very similar to what my mom and dad did. And explain. Let that person have a clue. Then they get to choose whether or not they're going to participate in that. But if you've set it up as this is a way that I feel loved, and that person loves you, why wouldn't they want to just play along with you? Why wouldn't they want to meet that expectation? But if it's never shared, you get disappointed, you get crushed. The expectation is unmet, and you're resentful. Why do we do this to ourselves? But that is a way in which you can start to recognize when you get those triggers. And I talked about it in another episode, stop, drop, and roll, right? So stop what you're thinking. Well, stop how you're, allowing that emotion of disappointment and resentment and anger to come up, because really, you haven't communicated that. You didn't even know you had it. So how could you communicate with it? But now that you know, you can communicate, because, hey, I just realized that I've been carrying around this ideal in my heart about what it's like to be married. And I want to share this with you because it would make me feel loved. Does that make sense? So just keep that in mind. Anytime you're triggered around an expectation that's been unmet, think about how you can go forward by communicating that to the person that you need to share it with. Okay? We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this aspect of the holiday season as being one of anticipation and dread. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi there, Anahata Roach. Welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show. We're talking about holidays and how we just bring so much stress to ourselves, and some of that's programmed from an early childhood or a tradition. Some of that is just self-imposed, but we've just kind of reviewed the unmet expectations and how to cope with those. Now we're going to talk about anticipation and dread, because they kind of walk hand in hand during the holiday season, especially if you're going to be interacting with, people that you haven't seen in a year or two, maybe. I mean, let's get real. I mean, if you go back to your, home of origin or wherever you grew up, then that is your tradition, right? And some family members you only see when you go there, right? Just once a year. So these are those kind of people that, there's some that you really look forward to catching up with and sharing during your time together. It's always a lot of fun, and it's really soul filling. And so you anticipate seeing those people, but there are others whose mere presence triggers your anxiety or dread. It's a catch-22, isn't it? You want to see this one and you want to avoid the other. Well, how can you navigate this thorny path successfully and still have your boundaries intact? Here is an opportunity to mine the depths of your own emotions and discover what's under this trigger of dread. Were you never taught how to truly communicate your needs? Were you told or shown that others' needs are more important? That family dogma is non-negotiable? Under most of our hurt and disappointment is this small little one, this small child inside us that feels unheard, unseen, insignificant, not worthy. The key to really kind of uncovering this is to getting to the heart of your perceptions and your emotional programming. Look, Uncle Charlie appears to be a kind, gentle, and funny guy, but he holds bigoted, misogynistic views, and your life choices and beliefs don't mesh with his. You dread having to listen to him pontificate on the virtues of his choices and beliefs. How do you deal with it? Well, you start by feeling into the type of energy that you're holding inside you. Is it shame? Is it guilt? Avoidance? Lack of confidence in your own beliefs and choices? Lack of boundaries, maybe. Why do we keep showing up year after year to experience the same internal drama? What would your life be like if you could arrive at a family holiday event without any expectations whatsoever, without any negative feelings of ick? You could just show up, right? You could be present. You could speak your truth unashamed. Wow. Is that even possible? Sure, absolutely. I had, still have a client whose family is just a bunch of repressed intuitives. I mean, they have like generations before of these people that were seers and were so gifted, but she grew up in a family that had shut it down, and nobody spoke about it. And so, if you never talk about it openly, it's always kind of like the elephant in the room, right? When we were working together, we were uncovering all of this other stuff, the shame and all the stuff around being gifted, around being an intuitive, around being a healer even. And she has been able to go back to her family and share her gifts and talk openly about what's her journey. And it seems to have unlocked the door to discussion about why this has been shut down, why the wings have been tied, and why that nobody's talking about it. So they're talking about it now. There's a conversation going on. How healing is that, to have some kind of something that's not really talked about, but everybody knows it's there, and then be able to really Talk about it. And so that's a gift that you could bring to your family once you've done your own work. You have to, if you're still triggered by it, that just means that that's an opportunity for you to heal. And you have to heal that within you before you can then have an ability to show up and be present and not have any expectations and not be triggered by other people, because you are secure and clear in yourself. Make sense? Yeah, but what about Uncle Charlie? Well, listen, instead of avoiding the conflict, especially at the dinner table, you could politely tell him that you don't hold the same beliefs that he does, but you respect his right to have a different opinion. You don't have to get into the weeds with him. Just politely affirm that he, as well as you and everyone else, has the right to their own opinion. Some may agree, some may not. But the important point is that you respect everyone's right to hold their own opinion and hold their own perceptions and perspectives of the world and how to live in it. Diversity of thought creates an open container for continued learning, and that's what you aspire to do. Mic drop. Then go have fun with your favorite cousin or sibling, and just refuse to get drawn into further discussion. It's not so hard, but you have to have, the earth element's support of facing your fears and doing it anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see here. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. How we create stress for ourselves during the holidays. I mean, this is self-created. This is not something that you've been born into or all of this other stuff we just talked about. This is self-created holiday stress. And when I say that, this is the pressure to get those holiday cards in the mail, to get all the presents ordered, wrapped, and sent, or prepared, to plan and prepare the perfect holiday dinner, to bake all those damn cookies, to be your mother or your grandmother or your best friend or your neighbor, whatever. Good grief. This isn't a competition, y'all. It isn't. The only person you're competing with is yourself, and that's creating stress. And sometimes competing with yourself is okay. I mean, it's a motivation, right? It's a motivating kind of energy, but it's not there to beat you up, to make you feel worse, to make you feel less than, right? So let's let go of keeping up with others, eh? Do what you can and leave the rest for later. I mean, that's my put your garbage in the cellar story, huh? I personally have actually sent out holiday cards after the first of the year. I mean, well after the first of the year, because hey, that's when I had the time to do it. So what the heck? People still heard from me. It's better than not doing it at all if that's your tradition or habit. You can instead look for ways to make memories and special moments and share those instead of putting all this pressure on doing, right? Why don't you call a faraway friend and reconnect? Or take a child to go see the holiday lights. Or go ice skating and get hot chocolate afterwards with yourself or with a friend. Go see a holiday play or a musical. Or just get comfy and just watch all of those classic Christmas movies at home with plenty of popcorn and snuggles with your favorite person or pet. Do you have holiday traditions? Do you still want to do them? Or do you want to create new ones? It's totally up to you. but you don't have to create this stressful situation on yourself where you put such enormous demands on your own performance that you've lost sight of why you're even in this holiday season to begin with. What are you celebrating? What are you even doing? You're running a program. You're running a program that you were given as, your mother did it, or your grandmother did it, or your aunt did it, whoever you were influenced by. This was their program and you took it on. Now, if you want to claim it as yours, that's fine. But do it consciously. Recognize that, yes, I'm choosing to send Christmas cards every single year right after Thanksgiving, because that's what Aunt Mary did. Okay, that's fine. Well, then if you know that, then you can start having your Christmas cards addressed at the beginning of the fall. So all you have to do is just drop them in, do a few a day. Don't be like me. I have to have like a deadline poking in my face to get motivated to do so. And so I am speaking from experience, people. I do this to myself. But as I have healed, as I have cleared, as I have removed programs that I was attached to that were not serving me, I have felt freer and more in the moment and happier. And guess what? One of my big lessons was to learn how to receive help. The universe literally forced me on my knees with all this different stuff that happened to me a couple of years ago. And I had to ask for help. Well, guess what? Asking for help is really nobody's going to judge you for asking for help, especially if people are offering. The tradition in my family that my husband and I created is that we're a blended family. So we have our celebration with everyone the day before the day before. So there's no conflict with Christmas Eve or Christmas. So, but I was doing everything. I did everything. And I didn't have a whole lot of help. And so it was very stressful for me. I mean, I wanted to do it, but it was hugely stressful. So I'm now at the point where I have help from other family members. One in particular calls me every year, says, what are we doing? How are we going to get this done? I have friends that are dear to me that are part of my extended family that participate also. And okay, well, what are we doing for this? And so there's just knowing that I don't have to do everything relieves a lot of the weight from my shoulders. And collectively, we make a better event because I'm not stressed out. I'm not like anxious or short or unable to really be in the moment and love seeing all of the people that are dear to me. You see what this can do. It's a freeing kind of experience. The more you can be in a place to accept that you're not perfect, you can't really please everybody, so just please yourself. You can accept help. It's okay. You can let go of that control and you can enjoy yourself. Oh, and be present. It's like a miracle. I look forward to this year because it's the first year we have restarted our family traditions since the pandemic in 2020. So it's been a couple of years and I've just really I actually I was enjoying that break, but I'm really looking forward to doing this again. And now more than ever because of all the help that I'm receiving. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, I got a bunch of stones, a bunch of rocks that I'm going to show you that is part of the holiday survival kit that I've just come up with. So come on back. We'll just be back for just a second. This is the Crystal Coach Show. We'll see you in a minute. And welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show. I'm your host, Anahata. And we're talking about how to cope with holidays and unmet expectations and anticipation and dread. And what do we do with ourselves when we're trying to be this perfect version of our mothers or our grandmothers or aunties or whatever? We can just be ourselves. So we've talked about some ways to cope and kind of hacks for working around that thing. Most of them is doing your own work, right? But it takes a moment of recognition before you really understand that this is something that I'm holding inside me, and it doesn't need to be there. I don't need to have this shame. I don't need to have this guilt. I don't need to have this fear of judgment. I mean, one of the things that happens when you get this fear of judgment released is you give zero, what's. No more to give. No more to give. My mama, like you all, I always talk about my mama, God love her soul, rest her soul. She always told me, honey, I don't care what other people think of me. And you know what? She's right. Why should you care? It's none of your business what another person thinks of you, right? So let's get into the holiday survival kit. So I'm going to do a whole episode, I think, on how to use crystals and stones, and because I always recommend them, but the best way that I've found is you connect with them, and you can use them for meditation. You can use them for moral support. You can use them as kind of like your posse that kind of comes with you along for the ride and helps support you in all of these different ways. For example, aquamarine. Aquamarine is a gorgeous light blue crystal that it's called a beryl, Beryl. And its energy is that of release, letting go, just release. It's a water element. And I always think of this this is kind of looks like a piece of frozen water, and it's like letting go. Just allow that aquamarine to just wash your energy field and let it all go, let it all out. It's wonderful this time of year to carry it with you. Because it's kind of like break glass in case of emergency. So another, and I picked this out before I drew those cards, but lepidolite, this is lepidolite, okay? Lepidolite comes in a lot of forms. This is a shaped one, a carved one. It's in the shape of a heart, but that's to remind you in your heart, you have to be at a place of acceptance of yourself first, and then acceptance of others and acceptance of the situation, whatever situation you may find yourself in. This isn't a time to beat yourself up. This is a time to love yourself and a time to love others and to appreciate the season of love and giving and connection, right? So lepidolite, that's another one in a kit. Oh, let's see. Then we get kind of earthy. We get the smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is all about grounding. So this is like getting out of your head and into your body. But the best one for that is hematite. Oh, yeah. Hematite is my be here now, baby. It is such a good stone to bring you back in if your mind is racing out there and it's just kind of gone off on its own horse race. It's just kind of gone out. And you're like, oh my, hold on to a piece of hematite. It just kind of brings you right back on in. Oh, hi. Yes, I'm here now. Oh, it's so fun. I just love the way it helps me to manifest my own light and just be in a place of presence. Hematite. Another earth element is cuprite. So cuprite is in my holiday survival kit because it reminds us to listen to the guidance and the wisdom within. So, your heart has its own brain, right? So it functions independently of the gray matter we have up here in my skull. And the gray matter here gives us 5 ways to process our reality, but the heart has multidimensional access. So the more we can listen to our body, what is our heart saying? I know what my head says. The head has got a trigger. The head's got anger because there's a trigger of guilt or shame or resentment or frustration, right? So what does my heart say? Oh, I'm not being heard, or I'm not being valued. Or what does my gut say? Is that an or an Listen, listen, listen. So cuprite is there to help you remember to listen and be in your heart rather than your head when you're dealing with all these emotions. And boy, the holidays can really trigger those. Here's my last earth element, and this is a smoky celestial quartz. Celestial, and it has these little beautiful plates and different kinds of planes on the stone, and it's really all about just helping the heart to heal and emotional healing and cleansing. So that's a good thing to have in your back pocket when you're dealing with all of this stuff. So here's a water element, a couple of water elements. Another one, the first one we started out was a water element. That's aquamarine. So this is rubellite. I think I've mentioned rubellite before. I know I've mentioned aquamarine. Rubellite is all about inner peace. So if you're looking for peace, if you're looking for some calm, hold on to some rubellite and just ask for some support around finding that inner peace. Because when you're triggered, it's really hard to feel that. Okay. Kunzite. Kunzite is the other piece of water element around your emotional body. And that's really to connect you with the unity consciousness and the universal stream of love. It's the highest vibration in mineral in the water element. Here is a storm element. Storm is all of the other elements combined. It's about change and transformation. This is blue kyanite. Blue kyanite. Kyanite comes in all kinds of colors. It comes in green and blue and black and orange. But blue is the blue is the connector. Okay, so if we're walking, imagine your life is one big wagon wheel, right? So you got the rim and then you got spokes and then there's a hub in the center. So you're running around on the rim in this chaos, it's like you get every 360 degrees, you're getting run over, right? What if you could just slide down one of those spokes and into the center, into the hub, where you don't have to go around and around, you can just stay upright. And then you can see what's going on around you. That's the energy of blue kyanite, and that's what helps me stay focused. Okay, I have a couple more, and I'm about done. This is nuumite. Nuumite, Nuumite. It's black with these really cool, like copper-looking flecks. I use this when I feel like I need help in letting go of old ancestral beliefs and programs that don't serve me, that are no longer necessary in my life. It helps to, pull out like old karmic contracts that they're done. but that they're still kind of out there taking space. So kind of helps to defrag that karmic list. Then the penultimate one is a fire element of malachite. Malachite is this beautiful green striated stone, has a lot of copper in it. It's more about the feeling and the energy of malachite to me is like let go and let God. You don't have to control every single aspect of everything. And remember when I was talking to you about being able to receive, malachite supports that, because it's like if you surrender your need to control everything, then the universe, you allow the universe to step in and support you and help you in ways that you would have never imagined. So that's what is so important about malachite and why it's part of our holiday survival kit. Last but not least is my go-to stone, black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is so awesome. It just transmutes negativity to clear light. And so you can carry it around with you. You can put it around your home, around your office. It's just good for, it's just a overall general purpose kind of stone. But I've got two of these different kinds because I wanted to show you the difference between where it comes from. Now, this one that I've been showing you that's got this really classic profile and plainage of the mineral itself, with these striations. This is from Brazil. This is from Africa, Namibia. And it has some white inclusions in it. And it's all rough and kind of lumpy. It's lumpy. Whereas this is smooth, right? So just wanted to know if you go look shopping for black tourmaline and you don't see one that's exactly smooth or plain, and you go, well, maybe that's not black tourmaline. Yes, it is. It's still black tourmaline. Whether it's lumpy or it's smooth, it's still black tourmaline, and you need it. Everybody needs black tourmaline. Okay. If anything that I've talked about today resonates with you and you'd like to talk more about working on clearing up those emotions that are in your way, that are preventing you from being your best self and really enjoying this holiday season, please go to my website at https://thecrystalcoach.com, and you can look on book a session, and there's a free consult call. So if you want, just book a free consult call. Let's talk to see if we might be a good match. If what you need to get done is something that we can really work a plan to do. I would just be thrilled to be in service for you and to help you have an easier, more relaxing, happier, peaceful type of holiday season. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Crystal Coach Show. I appreciate your being here and listening, and I'll see you next time on the Crystal Coach Show. Bye for now. You have been listening to the Crystal Coach Show, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. With me, your host, Anahata. Tune in every first and third Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where we channel divine wisdom through stories of service, spirituality, and stones for self-care. Feel connected and reside in the vibration of love on The Crystal Coach Show. For more information and to become the best version of yourself, visit thecrystalcoach.com. That's thecrystalcoach.com. See you next time.